Alberta. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. And for a limited time only, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code GYB50. That's how Alberta wins.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you bought a ticket and went to that game, you definitely got your money's worth. Were you not entertained? Unless you were a lover of defensive hockey, then maybe not so much, because tell you what, barn burner of a game, but two head coaches probably scratching their heads a little bit after this one. Oilers eke out a win. Yes, we will critique it. I know you're not supposed to critique wins. This one just deserves it. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Ryan Rishaug, Jason Strudwick, Chris Sabunia. We'll have Rob Brown coming up in a little bit, and looking forward to breaking down all things Oilers Habs over the next 90 minutes or so. Our show is always brought to you by our title sponsor. It's Timber House Developments, the leader in custom and infill development with the knowledge and experience to bring your dreams to life. If you are tired of cookie cutter copy and paste designs that just don't have soul, you need to go see Timber House and discover how naturally inspired living can make your life better. Take all the guesswork out of your infill project and work with experienced leaders. Visit timberhouse.ca. Okay, I'm in the mobile Timber House studio tonight, safely on a hands-free and heading home. Along with a bunch of Oiler fans, Struddy, that saw, they saw some interesting sides to their team on a night like tonight, buddy. It was once again a night where it didn't really start on time, and power play had to come to life late. There's lots to break down in this one, and always entertaining and fun when it's the Montreal Canadiens, because that building is just popping in both directions, buddy. Like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are ones as players you kind of love it and hate it because it's your home building, but there are many Habs fans or Leafs fans, whatever, right? And they're all rocking and they got their chants going and there's a lot of energy. So it's a game they should be able to get up for, right? And I kind of expected tonight a little bit more energetic start from the Oilers. They didn't quite get there to start. They finished there, but didn't start there, Shoggy.
Yeah, for sure. They're trying to find it, man. Like they have not they've not had a lot of nights where they've come out and sort of said, "Here's how we're going to play tonight." And we'll dig into all of that, what's going on with the group and why these starts and such. But hey, bottom line, they grab a couple of points, and I think that can be big, and that can be a bit of a turning point for this team. We shall see in the days to come. We're already into it. Let's just get straight to our breakdown. And that is brought to you by our friends over at the Canadian Brew House. Would have been a great spot to watch the game tonight if you weren't actually there, Struddy.
Oh, it'd have been rocking, that's for sure. And hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. During every Oilers game day at any Edmonton area location, enter to win Oilers home game tickets at Rogers Place. Plus, enjoy $1 off Molson Canadian and Coors Light tankards. 30-plus beers on taps, 50-plus TVs at all locations, and I've seen them. The largest rooftop patios in Edmonton, that's our buddies at Canadian Brew House.
All right. So the Montreal Canadiens played a game last night in Calgary. It wasn't a great game, but it was an overtime game. And they won. Then they come to Edmonton, probably get here fairly late, didn't have to come to the rink. So they got some rest today, Struds. But I still scratch my head a little bit at the idea that they look like they had their legs early and the Oilers just kind of didn't. They were being outraced to pucks and outworked to pucks and outshot. And Montreal dictates the day after playing a game last night. It's always a bit of a head scratcher for me how that can happen.
Well, I think too a little bit difference in back-to-backs, right? Like a back-to-backs Phoenix Dallas is different than Edmonton Calgary, even different than Edmonton Vancouver. After the game in Calgary, you get here, it's a 40-minute flight. Yeah, the drive in is almost as long as drive in from the airport is almost as long as the trip from the flight. And what I didn't mind when we were able to play back-to-backs when maybe we weren't too taxed the night before, but also it was a short flight because you kind of have your mojo going. They won last night, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. You're like, hey, let's keep playing, let's keep this going. So I think Montreal had the advantage in that. For the Oilers, though, they're still, they've talked about it all year. We want to have a good start. We want to do this. We want to, come out of the gates early, the first 10 games, and you're just kind of waiting for that. But they kind of come out looking a little bit, disinterested, if you will, and not kind of firing on all cylinders. There were, there'd be a good shift and then a couple bad shifts, and a couple good shifts and a couple bad shifts. Like there was no real consistency to their game until much, much later in the game, Shogger.
Yeah, I mean, the lines were just all over the place tonight. Chris Knobloch started in one formation, didn't like it, was flip flopping it around, moving guys up, moving guys down. Probably should have benched a few guys, but kept playing them. Like he was just kind of, it felt like he was kind of grinding through it as well, trying to find it and trying to figure it out. There was a lot that happened in this game, just kind of momentum swings and big swings here and there. I don't know. I think let's just do it chronologically, Struds. And the Oilers get down. I asked Knobloch after the game about the big mistakes. If it is it just me, or are there a lot of big mistakes happening early in games that are getting you guys? And he did agree. He said it does seem like there's more of the oh boy kind of mistakes early on in games here. And we saw some of that early for the Oil.
You do it, and yes, they're unfortunately, you're 100% right, and he'll. Well, I'm sure we'll get to the clip, but the thing you want to think about when your game isn't 100%, just make the first pass you see, right? Just make the play. Don't look for something better. And when you hesitate, that's when kind of problems happen. And I think the Canadiens, for a young team, they kind of just get the puck moving up ice, but the Oilers, and it was all through the lineup. And then we can talk about the first goal all the way to the last goal. Just make the quicker plays. So in this goal you're talking about, Ekholm goes back, kind of throws a grenade up to Bouchard, and Bouchard kind of gets it. Well, it doesn't get out. And then Lane Hudson makes a good play from the blue line, and no one's taking anyone in front. And it just happens that quick. But Canadiens all night were pressing the Oilers D. In this case, they pressed them. Ekholm and Bouchard able to make a solid play out of their own zone, and then boom, right away to the back of their net.
Some depth spots in the Oiler lineup help battle them back. And I think, there were a lot of guys whose games were pretty inconsistent tonight, maybe started crappy and got better as they went on, or a little bit up and down throughout. Is it just me, or is Adam Henrique kind of put a few decent games together here, Struds, and he seems comfortable and able to function pretty efficiently from, we'll call it the fourth line perch where he's at, but some depth players, right? Tomashik just unloads, just shoot the darn puck. And then Adam Henrique again here um, gets one and shows some nice veteran savvy in the slot.
Well, let's call first Tomashik's goal. Like that's not the one you dream of scoring. You shoot it off your buddy's
Yeah.
or off another D man's foot, I should say. But it doesn't matter. It's in the back of the net, and for him that must be pressure off. He must be thinking, "I'm an offensive player. I want to get points." And I think now he's up to 3 points. So I mean, it's not bad. He's just keep in mind he's a $1.3 million player, right? This isn't an $8 million player that you're expecting a ton of massive goals from, and that one. So I really like that from him. And then Adam Henrique, simple, goes sets up in front of the in the higher slot, point shot from Wallman, tip shot, goal. And one theme that goes over all the goals for the Oilers tonight: they're driving the net, they're getting to the net, they're shooting pucks to the net. There obviously was an effort quite often when they scored to do that, because when you do that over and over again, the skill the Oilers have, you're going to get chances, and all the goals tonight reflect that what we spoke about
It's like,
on Friday's World yesterday morning.
yeah, I was going to say, it's like they were watching your show yesterday. You talked a lot about it was your big thought, and it was on point. Like they just need to show more commitment to taking the puck to the middle of the ice. I think McDavid did that a little bit more tonight. We saw Roslovic try it a couple of times. We saw more players seemingly more willing to get to the middle of the ice. A lot of the blunders and gaffes and handling it like a grenade. There was a lot of that in the early going in their game tonight. I wouldn't say tonight was necessarily. I wouldn't say it was effort related when things went poorly for them, more just execution and some weird puck stuff. But overall, it seemed to be a group that was a little bit more willing to take the puck to the net. I think the scoring chances at Sport Logic, I think it was 8-1 for Montreal off of turnovers in the first. So scoring chances off turnovers were 8-1 Montreal in the first period. So look, not a great start, but then they battle their way back. They end up in a lead after a little bit of line tweaking works. Mangiapane ends up getting one, and then Struds, the wheels just come a
Mhm.
tumbling, just a tumbling right off the group after something finally went their way. How does that happen?
Yeah, so you know what, they got up to that 2-goal lead, and I was like, "Okay, this isn't too bad." They haven't played well, but they've played well enough to get the lead. And you know, you're literally like like 180 seconds away from the second end of the second period. Like, okay, you get through this, it's 3-1. Well, if you didn't watch the game, and there's 3 goals, bang, 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 within like, you know, whatever, I don't know, a minute and a half or something. Anderson, Caulfield, Caulfield, go, go, go. And you're like, what the hell just happened? And there were just choices that you're like, not moving the puck quick enough, not defending, not understanding what's going on. Backdoor, seeing someone puck focused. It was all the above, and it was. I couldn't believe it. I was shell shocked watching this.
Yeah, that's a lot. That Montreal team can snap it around, and Cole Caulfield when he gets going, I mean, I think he's leading the league in goals, or at least he was at one point tonight. I'm not sure what else has happened, but um, that guy is a dynamic player when you give him a little bit of room, and he was buzzing out there. I know Pickard wouldn't have liked the second one much, but I think Pickard, for the most part, was giving the Oilers good looks and good saves for the most part tonight. Feel like he did his job to kind of try and keep the group in it. Outside of that goal there from Caulfield, but bang, 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 and all of a sudden it's 4-3, and just the Oilers found themselves in just a brutal position there, Struds, where that's got to be deflating for a group that, they're letting these 2-goal leads slide.
They are, and you know, they've been pretty decent. You know, if you're looking from either offensive or defensive side, they've been better defensive side. Okay, well, yeah, they're an offensive team, but we know how they want to play. They want, as you mentioned, they want to move the puck quickly. They have players jumping in off the blue line in Dobson and or Hudson all the time. So you kind of got to be ready for that. But it was just like they were surprised. You know, like this was happening, and just the casual nature in which with which they're defending just doesn't work. And they know it, and they talked about it post game, right? It's not good enough, and they set the standard. We're not setting the standard. They set the standard by the way we've seen them play defensively. So it's just not enough from them in so many different parts of the game defensively tonight.
And we'll
Just
dig
tonight.
into we'll yeah, we'll dig into some of that nuance maybe in our next segment. We'll drill down a little bit more specifically in some of what's going on the blue line coming up in our next segment. Let's just keep rolling along with the game flow here, though. So they end up down 5-3, and it's like, yeah, boy. I mean, at that point, you're down a couple of goals. Montreal's buzzing. They've done a nice job coming back. High energy, high skill team. And you got the feeling, Struds, when the Oilers got on the power play, it was like, I'm sitting up there thinking their power play hasn't had it tonight. Like it hasn't looked great. Not a lot of great chances. They're so lackadaisical on some of the break-ins and the zone entries and the missed passes and this and that. It did not feel like a night where the power play was going to provide salvation for this group. And then that is exactly what ended up happening. Couple power play goals. I would say a fortunate call to give them back to back power plays, but it came through, Struds, after an ugly night.
It did, and you know what? That's, you know, this is something they need. I thought the last little bit they really got going. So the first power play goal, it was set up with they were really moving the puck well. Like there was many passes, and maybe their best sequence of passing in quite a chunk of games here, especially tonight. Everyone was passing the puck. It was on the tape, and eventually the puck goes to Connor McDavid behind the net. They're kind of set in a one with Connor behind the net, three across the, you know, above the in front of the net, and then obviously Bouchard on the point. Uh, McDavid walks around and finds an open Draisaitl who taps it in the far post. Tomashek was doing a great job on the far post presenting a target. And I think there was some focus on that left a lane open for Leon to drive through it. So they score. Okay, great. Josh Anderson was not happy with what he saw, so he had been kind of barking at the refs apparently, then slapping his stick on the ice, looking at the ref. And I think, listen, I get it, and this sounds a bit like a homer, but there's a point where the ref can only take so much embarrassment and or being challenged, and if you continue staring at him and chirping him, eventually he's got to bring you up, or you're giving the ref a chance, the opportunity to have to make that call. So it was an important moment. I understand Josh
Yeah.
is frustrated, but 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 if we saw the replay on TV, and it's just you just I get it. It's a moldy call, but he gave the ref the opportunity to have to make that call. And as a teammate, I'm like, buddy, that's one you can't do it. We're
Can I
still in a good position.
can I give you a hot take? I'll give you a hot
Sure.
take.
Yeah.
Had Evan Bouchard not taken the penalty right after the Montreal goal and got thrown in the box right after the Montreal goal, that call on Anderson is not made. This is human nature, refs being human beings, managing games. That penalty on Bouchard, yes, it was the slash, but if they don't make that call, they're not making the Anderson call.
If Anderson doesn't give the opportunity to the referee to have to make a judgment call, the call doesn't get called either. Like I don't understand why a player would put themselves in that situation. Right? Yeah, you don't like the call. Okay, I get it. Give him a couple taps and skate off. But he was staring at him, tapping his stick. And whether I agree with the call or not, it's irrelevant. He put himself in that position. So I just
Yep.
I don't get it. I just Shocker, as a coach, I'd be like, why? Why did you have to do that? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
made the ref get himself involved in the game. I don't agree. I don't agree with anything else that happened before or after the game or in that game. But in that moment, he did it to himself. And I just don't. I never did that as a player. I don't understand it now as I watch the games why someone would do that.
Yep, more than fair point by you. So at that point, it's a one-goal game heading back to the power play. They never even left the ice, just went and lined up at center. And look, like Connor McDavid here, he's been up and down, and he hasn't necessarily had it the way he normally does. But he played a big part in this team getting back into this, and he made some things happen on that power play after a struggle of a night.
He did, yeah. So I mean, he had the primary assist, obviously, to Leon, and I think he had the primary to Nuge. And
Oh yeah,
Connor's driving quickly, but you know what I love? Nugent Hopkins, and we've done now the pod for 5-6 years, and 2 years ago we talked about how he's getting between the dots and getting shots and chances driving the puck there. Last year maybe not so much. This year, guess who's getting it again? Guess who's I think second leading scorer of the Edmonton Oilers on this goal? He just drives that center lane as quick as he can, gets a pass on his backhand, and just taps it upstairs. Now I'm being casual about how great of a play it was to score like that. But what I do love is how he just drove it. He just skated as hard as he could right through there. Make the D-man make a choice. Put people under pressure. When you don't skate and don't attack D-man like that, they don't have to make any choices. They just sit back and
yep,
like, it's all in front of me. So I don't want to be casual with what you're saying about Connor and or the scoring point play by Nuge. But man, I love that intention. And that is what I talked about yesterday on Struddy's World, but also something we talked about 2 years ago, what Nuge was doing, and probably not as much last year.
yeah, great points by you. So now she's all tied up. Building's on fire. Let's go Oilers. Go Habs. Go. That whole mess is going on inside. The building's on fire. It's electric. I'll tell you what happened from this point forward that I liked, Struds. Chris Knobloch kind of stuck with some lines. He kind of felt like he'd found something. And there was no, oh, there's only 5 minutes left in the game. Load the big boys up. There was no, all their kids, they're not going to get the primetime ice. He shifted some lines around. He empowered the kids with the big guys, got some good minutes out of them, and then he stuck with it after the game was tied and rolled right through them a couple of times. And then another line that he had pieced together mid-game ends up coming through. So I liked what I saw from the line combinations in that tiny little window, and then Vasily Podkolzin with a really big emotional moment and a great moment for him.
It was, a great moment from him. And again, what I love is he goes and establishes a strong position in front of the opposition net. Puck goes from left to the netminder up to the top. I think it was Wallman on the blue line from Savoy pass to him. Savoy did a really good job actually protecting that puck. Goes over to Nurse, who's on the wall. Nurse passes it to Podkolzin in front. He'd established a position. He was in really strong position. He just takes it, kind of reaches out and does a backhand over top of Montembeault. So again, another hot area in front. I can only imagine how that felt for him. He's played pretty well this year. Obviously we know with the passing of his father, he gets that goal. But that's a pretty skilled goal. I don't think we should
Yeah.
just dismiss it saying, I just shoveled at the net. I think that was a skilled play, and I'm sure Brownie will want to praise him on that one. So again, you look at, just to review, all the goals Oilers scored were all from within the dots, most of them well within the hash marks. That's the difference on what they did offensively compared to some of the games we saw on the road.
We'll keep the conversation going in the next segment as well about some of those line combinations that we saw and what we liked in particular. But this is the perfect time to get into the Weiss Johnson sound box. And that, as always, is brought to you by our friends over at Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Their end of season AC sale is on now until the end of October. Get up to 20% off any in stock air conditioners. Visit wjjingle.com for exclusive specials for Got Your Back listeners. Again, that's wjjingle.com. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. Proud to be local and family owned.
Bit of a longer clip here from Vasily Podkolzin, but just some really heartfelt sentiments from a kid who has been through a tremendous amount, having recently lost his father, left the team, rejoined, trying to find his game, and then gets an emotional goal tonight.
First of all, thank you guys for all support I got on a social media and like everywhere. Yeah, thank you Oilers for letting me be with my family through this tough time. And yeah, I've been in touch with the guys from the team every day, and they ask if they care about me. And yeah, I felt heck of support from them. And yeah, just thank you guys, thank you to the fans. It's pretty sad, and it's big, like huge loss for me and for my family. But yeah. Right now, just playing is a good memory of him, and just make him proud every day. And yeah, he always wanted to me win a cup, and unfortunately he'll not see it, but like he'll see it another way, on other side. Yeah.
Yeah, some heartfelt comments there from Vasily Podkolzin. Wears his heart on his sleeve. What a few months it's been from signing that contract to almost immediately losing his dad, and then a really nice contribution tonight. Struds, that's a guy players will rally around, fans will rally around. That's a really feel good story tonight.
It is. And, he was, before this all happened, he was a very likable player already, right? The way he works, the
Yeah.
way that he brings it every night. I think he'd be hard pressed to find a night that he takes it off. He was rewarded with the contract, the terrible tragedy of his father passing, goes home and supports his family through that and deals with some of his own emotions, and then comes back and is playing again the same way that he is playing. So, I think he had 8 goals last year. I'd like to think he can get 12 to 15. What are we, 7, 8 games now in? He's got to keep kind of working towards that. But he's well liked by his teammates, and I think people like playing with him because of the way he gets pucks back. But he's got to keep working on that offensive touch. And you speak about how much time he spends on that pre and post practice, but you got to keep doing it because eventually it will pay off, like it did
He
tonight.
was joking. Yeah, he was joking. Like, I'm not Malkin. He talked about watching Malkin when he was younger do a spinorama and go top shelf, and how much more skilled Malkin is. But pretty good look there. Pretty darn good look there from Vasily Podkolzin. And the building lights up. The Oilers kind of sheepishly take their second point, their 2-point night, and move on. And I like what I heard from the Oilers in the locker room tonight. They were not fooled by what this was. We'll get to some more of that sound maybe coming up in our next segment.
We got Brownie
Okay.
here too, Sugar, if you want to get him before we move on to
Oh,
the next.
okay. Brownie, how are you, buddy?
I'm very good. I'm like all Oiler fans tonight. Happy.
Yeah, that was an entertaining game for sure for anybody that would have bought tickets and gone in there. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just about home, but Zuby, I want to get to play Alberta, because we almost hit on the line that you threw out there earlier today, Zuby, and I thought it was an interesting one. And for those of you that haven't seen this yet, keep an eye out on show days and game days for us. During the day, Zuby's going to throw out a line that we find is an interesting storyline, we're calling it. A betting line wrapped up in an interesting story for the game, and that will be brought to you by Play Alberta. If you want to know how Alberta wins this NHL season, you can find odds boosts on every free bet when they deposit $50 using GYB50. Today, Zuby, your parlay, we expected it to be an offensive game, and you kind of reflected that in what you like today, Zuby.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about just going with the over first, and we shifted it to say that both teams would score in the first period, which is exactly what happened. So we were looking good there. And then after the news broke that Matt Savoy was going to be getting a look on the top line, we said, well, let's get that in there too. A point, one or more points for Matt Savoy. Well, I'll tell you what, unfortunately, they do not give a point for third assist because that's what he got on the
You're
game
so
winning
close.
goal. But that's how close we were tonight to hitting that parlay. But yeah, the storylines we were watching proved to be definitely a part of the game this evening. So Play Alberta boosted that over there. So thanks to those people who got in on it, and we'll try something else for on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. And again, keep an eye on our Twitter feed on game days. Zuby will be putting something out, and as always, always play responsibly. But Brownie, no surprise, a lot of offense in a game like this, like that Habs team. Man, they got some young skill, and they zip it around. And not the biggest, most robust group, but fun to watch, buddy.
They are fun to watch. They got a ton of skill. And I don't know about you, but for the first 50 minutes, it looked like one team was a speed demon and the other team was stuck in, neutral. They are a much faster team than the Oilers are. They created a lot of times you create turnovers through, a ferocious forecheck with physicality and knocking guys off pucks. The Canadians do it with speed. They just get on you so quickly. They don't hit you. They just take the puck away from you. They are a ton of fun to watch. Probably when it was 5-3, probably should have been up 7 or 8-3. And some of those missed opportunities came back to bite them. But no, they are a fun hockey club to watch with a ton of very nicely skilled players.
For sure. I'm just about home, guys. So, Struds, you grab the wheel, get Relentless Player and the YouTube poll squared away, and I'll chat with you guys inside for takeaways.
Okay, buddy, let's take this on here. Rentless Player brought to you by You Can Use Services. Need reliable entry-level staff? You can train Edmonton youth with the skills and confidence to show up ready to work and to grow with your team. Learn more and make a change today at youcan.ca. There was a lot going on out in that game, guys. There were some people that were very worthy of a relentless type player and some that maybe were a little bit off. But I'm going to go with the gentleman we just talked about, Brown. You can chime in. Vasily Podkolzin. He's had, quite a emotional roller coaster since the season started or since training camp started. But I really liked his goal, and he's been working on it, trying to get to the net and get chances. And he did got a really good chance today. And I thought created what I don't think was a prime scoring chance, Brownie, but he turned it into one and was rewarded with a nice goal there.
Not an easy play, but what you loved about it, Strud, and we talked about it on our podcast, and I know that I heard that you talked about it on yours. The Oilers have been too perimeter so far this season. One of the reasons they're not creating offense, they're on the outside all the time. But Colson, he understands his game, and he went and stood in the blue paint. And he was going to hang out there for a tip, for a rebound, for chaos, whatever it was. But they put a nice puck right on his stick, and at that point, the work that he's put in practice day in day out came into play. I don't know if Podkolzin 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, tried going backhand roof from in front of the net from 5 feet out. But when you practice it over and over again, it all of a sudden becomes second nature. So that's not an easy goal. I mean, that is a skilled goal with a body on you to turn and go up and over the goaltender top shelf with your backhand. I 100% that was relentless, but it was relentless because he went to a spot that you needed to be. One of the few Oilers that hangs out in that spot on a consistent basis. So I think he's relentless that way too.
All right, let's jump over to where Zuby now has got a look at the YouTube poll brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Get fit now before you get out your shovels and ice chippers. Get fitted while you still have your summer swing. Their TrackMan bays are ready and the deals are hot. Go down and check out their pro style shop style atmosphere, located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. Zuby, what do you got for us, bud?
Well, a pretty simple one tonight, actually. The question is just, would you have Isaac Howard start next game in the top 6 forwards, as he finished tonight getting top 6 ice time? So is Isaac Howard at this point in time, do you want to see him get a shot? I mean, let's get shuffled pretty quickly. So that's why we kind of said, would you start him there? If you're running the team, is he in your top 6 to start the next game?
Brownie?
Well, he would be in my top 6 since game 1 of the season. He was not brought here to play on your fourth line. He's a goal scorer. Goal scorers need to play with other guys that can create for them. So 100% I would start him in the top 6. And having said that, it doesn't matter because the lines change so quickly. But I think if you want to see what Ike Howard can do, put Ike Howard in a position to show what he's capable of doing. And that means playing in the top 6 and getting meaningful minutes playing with other skilled players.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that wherever they start, it's not going to end there. But I actually, you know what, Brownie, I don't know. I liked Savoy in the first period beside Connor and Leon. There was a play off the rush where Leon got it and kicks it out to Connor, and Connor's flying up the ice, and Matt Savoy got up there. Now he had to make a play where I think it was McDavid passing over. He had to try to lift the opponent's stick and then get the puck. Timing wasn't quite there, but he can get up and stay with those guys and play with them. And I think having a righty on the line isn't a terrible thing. We've seen it work with Hyman. But I mean, I'm not against it. If Ike Howard, get him out there, give him a shot. He scored beside Leon the other night in a very small sample size.
Well, let's try to know what I think is going to happen next game. I think Connor and Leon are going to be on separate lines. So now you can have Savoy with McDavid. You can have Ike Howard with Leon. I think they're going to go that. To me, it gives them more opportunities to allow players to play with highly skilled players. So I would have Connor and Leon separate next game, and I'd have both Savoy and Ike Howard in my top 6.
We've got some interesting comments from the coach coming up that I'm sure we're going to get to on that topic. We'll be getting to in the next segment here.
Well, let's dive out of here quick. We'll get Schauger organized and return, and we'll get more of our thoughts and your comments as we work through the show. Stay with us, everybody.
Mainline Water and Sewer specializes in sewer line repair and replacement using advanced trenchless methods for fast, clean results. They provide detailed sewer assessments and scoping to identify problems before they become costly. Serving both residential and commercial properties, no job is too big or too small, and with over 40 years of experience, they've seen it all. Trust Mainline to keep your lines flowing smoothly.
Choosing to buy a home is one of the biggest financial and personal decisions you'll ever make. It's a decision that requires strategic planning, market expertise, and a trusted advisor to guide the way. The team at Body Realty with Royal LePage AR team combines deep market knowledge, forward-thinking guidance, and exceptional dedication to make the process effortless and stress-free. Where every client is treated like the only client, visit BattyRealty.com, a real estate group like no other.
Rolling right along, time for takeaways brought to you by Chandos Construction. Chandos doesn't just hire talent, they invest in talent. 100% employee owned, so when their people grow, the whole company grows. Ready to build something that matters? What a great team to hop onto. Check them out and apply at chandos.com. That's chandos.com/apply. Settled in nice and cozy here into the Timberhouse studio. Ready to keep breaking this thing down. Brownie, Struds and I kind of went through the ups and downs and the roller coaster that this game was for the Oilers. So we won't go through it all with you, but I do want a big picture thought from you on how, a team that's on the second night of back-to-backs has the better legs early. What the heck is going on with the Oilers here? And yes, the power play saved them, but man, they're not coming out with the stuff they need to be coming out with. And what are you seeing?
I don't even know if it's just the way they're coming out in the games. They've given up too many grade A chances again so far this year. You take away their first 2 games of the season, since then, this team has not been as good defensively with big mistakes. And the problem for them right now is the big mistakes are coming from their 3 top defensemen. Ekholm, Bouchard, and Nurse have not been anywhere near where they're capable of playing. Those are where the big mistakes are, and those are the guys that get the big minutes. So I just think this is a team right now still trying to find an identity. I think they had one last year with the veteran team. They knew who they were. They knew what the lines were. They knew what their roles were. And even when things weren't going great, they knew how to fall back, and they had a pretty good defensive structure. I think right now they are a team that thinks it's more skill, but I don't believe it is. It believes it should be faster, but we saw tonight that it isn't. And I think they're trying to force things that is creating more problems. So I don't think it's just starts. I just think this is an Oilers team that, in all honesty, played 10 minutes tonight and were gifted probably 2 power plays that allowed them to steal 2 points. Because Calvin Pickard led it by 5 great saves that Calvin Pickard made.
Struds, can you chime in on Nurse and Bouchard, and if you want to throw Ekholm in there as well? Like, we've done our fair amount of chewing on Evan Bouchard on the show so far this year, and rightfully so. We could do some more chewing tonight. There were some more of those difficult mistakes. Darnell Nurse, I would say, maybe hasn't had the same number of egregious errors that are attention-grabbing, although there were definitely some tonight. But his game has not been where they need it to be. I mean, these are 2 really important players, Struds, and neither one of them, I don't think, has really been in the vicinity of where they need to be.
I've said it before about Darnell. I'll say it again. When he gets in trouble, he's trying to do too much. And I feel right now he's trying to do too much. And I can't remember, it's the 4th goal, maybe. He goes back and he gets the puck and he's trying to shake a guy off and he loses the puck. You know, you feel there's pressure on you. Make a move the puck. Move the puck up. Move it quickly. And I think the Oilers are best when their D-men are moving the puck quickly and fueling the transition. That gives the Oilers skilled players time to go and time to make it happen. When you're holding on to the puck too long, it's not ideal. And then trying to do too much. You think about the 2 assists that Nurse had. The first goal, I think it was Henrique's. He bumps the puck down to, I think it was McDavid. Doesn't try to do too much. He just jumps through. He bumps it down to McDavid, jumps through to the middle of the ice, goes back door, opens up, drives the far post, misses it, and then remembers there's a guy behind him, taps it behind to Henrique, who taps it in. Like, that's a really good play. He doesn't have the puck on his stick, but he's causing problems with what he's doing. And then the other one, he just kind of gets in and passes it to Podkolzin in front. But again, not trying to do too much, keeping it. Not that those are unskilled play, but they're clear plays and quick plays and simple plays. And that's when he's at his best. It's when he's trying to do too much with the puck that he gets in trouble.
Brownie?
I agree. Tonight, the one that you're talking about, the 4th goal, where he held on to the puck too long, and eventually they took it off him. A couple of games ago, where he eventually threw the puck up the boards, it got picked off, and they went down and scored. It was a really pretty goal that was scored against them. Again, trying to do too much. Judge, you were a defenseman. There's nothing wrong, as Todd McClellan used to say, punting. If you don't have a play, get rid of it. It's better to fight along the boards, or fight at the blue line, or fight in the neutral zone for the puck, as opposed to fighting down below your own goal line. And that's the one time that Nurse always get into trouble. This has been for the last couple of years, trying to make something out of nothing. He's not Cale Makar. He's not Quinn Hughes. Even Lane Hudson, who we saw tonight. Those players can make something out of nothing. You got to understand your role. Darnell Nurse, as you say, make the simple play. And if there isn't a play, throw it off the glass. Live to fight another day. No coach will ever get mad at you if you are in trouble and you throw it off the glass. And the puck is now in the neutral zone. Now we'll fight to get it back. But he and Bouchard trying to create stuff out of nothing, and all they're doing is just creating bigger problems.
I'll just jump in there quick. And there's no doubt that Darnell can't do what Hudson does or Makar or, even Evan Bouchard. But those three guys can't do what he can do when he's at his best either. Like when he's at his best,
100%.
he is covering a ton of ice. He's big, he's strong, he's heavy, he's closing off on the blue line. Like he's really a pig to play against. Like it's when he's at his best. Even, he passes the puck up and jumps up, follows the play. We've seen him how many times we've seen that? He follows the play up. One of the forwards hits him with a late one, and he rips a game-winning goal or a big goal. Like he can do those things. It's when he, like Brownie just said, he's trying to do stuff it's not in him to do, but he can do so many things that others can't do. And I wonder if Mark Stewart can talk to him and say, hey, buddy, this is when you're at your best. Look at this video. This is when you get in trouble. It's when you're holding on to it too long.
Yeah. I mean, produce some offense tonight. Was even a little self-deprecating talking about missing the backdoor tap in before remembering there was a guy wide open in the slot. So a couple of nice offensive plays from Nurse, but this was a tough night to chew on from him. There were a lot of, errant icings that were unnecessary and turnovers on the wall and just mishandles. And I mean, the analytics community, you look at Darnell Nurse's expanded stats this year and it is grisly. Like it is absolutely grisly. It's early in the year. We'll let that breathe a little bit, but the analytics aren't good. The performance tonight was a little all over the place. I think he's probably gotten a bit of a pass because Bouchard has gotten some more high, sort of headline style mistakes, but Darnell Nurse definitely needs to pick up his game significantly. And this Oilers team has to figure out how to not make October such a crazy adventure year after year after year. Back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Let's go back to back Darnell Nurse and then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zuby, on what's going on with this team and try to find it.
Connected is, when you're watching the game, when you're playing the game, you feel as, a 5-man unit moving up and back. Everywhere on the ice, you feel like you have options. And, for us, we haven't been connected enough. And like I said, that's not on X's and O's or anything. That's just the individual play. We can all be better. And, yeah.
I think guys are trying. I think everybody wants to do the right things and is trying to work hard. And there's some disconnect sometimes. I see it on our forecheck a little bit, just a little bit of disconnect. One guy going, then the next kind of thing, instead of everybody kind of working together. But I think just maybe we're just gripping it too tight right now, and just tomorrow we'll get a good practice and put the boots on and get to work a little bit, and then obviously 2 big ones back to back here.
Avi Hoffman chiming in saying, Nurse is a solid player when he's playing in his groove. He can be clutch, but it's tough to know nightly from number 25. I would agree with that. Tough to know what you're getting on a night-to-night basis from Darnell Nurse and frankly, a couple of the other Oiler blue liners. So want to transition the topic now to our HSE core adjustments. And that is brought to you by HSE Core Services. From creating and managing safety programs to audits and those required contractor registries, HSE Core keeps your business compliant so you can keep working. Visit www.hsecor.com for more information. Brownie, Chris Knobloch, after the 2 power plays, he stuck with some lines. He rolled some lines. It seemed like maybe he found something that could even be a starting point for next game. And it involved Ike Howard, and it involved Savoy, and it involved McDavid and Draisaitl on different lines. And just for a small moment in time, it looked like maybe there was something there. That's part of what our poll is about. I like those adjustments from him, and I think maybe there's the start of at least something new to look at. Would you agree?
Well, Strud and I talked about it earlier. If I'm starting next game, Connor and Leon are centering different lines, and both Savoy and Howard will be in the top 6, and I believe they will. And I do believe that they finished the game strong with those line combinations like that. But that was 6 minutes of game time they played with that, and that will guarantee that they will start the game, and they might not get through the first period. This is a coaching staff and a team that just doesn't go with lines. They change them period to period, shift to shift. So you can say, yes, this looks like they planted the seed until 5 minutes into game on Saturday when they started slow and then all of a sudden they switch it up again. So I think talking about lines is almost a waste of breath for us because they don't keep lines, and I don't think they care about keeping lines. And to me, Howard and Savoy need to play with skilled players in meaningful minutes, because what we've seen from Roslovic, what we've seen from Frederick, and what we've seen from Henrique, those players have not played as well and have not produced with the top two players. Let the kids run with it for a while.
I really like the idea of the balance between Podkolzin and Savoy on any line, right? There's a real heavy player on one side who can, who does retrieve pucks and can keep the play going. Then the other side, you have really good speed and a really smart hockey player that I think has good finish, although we haven't, he hasn't been able to finish anything. Then you throw a stud in the middle like Leon Draisaitl. So I like the makings of that line. There's when Hyman comes back, there's no way the line with Howard, Mangiapane, and McDavid exists, but this other one could exist post Hyman return.
Yeah. The other thing too, like in the bottom six, they're moving guys around a lot, moving guys out of the bottom six up to the top and back and forth. It's been a little bit all over the place. I mean, Knobloch has really had the knob lender out a ton this year. It feels like more so than other years. He's trying to, I don't know, McDavid and Draisaitl together while they wait for Hyman. Good in principle, but he keeps having to get away from it in games because things aren't really working. And then who's it going to be? Well, no one's beating the door down offensively. So now you're just, if anybody shows even a glimmer, Brownie, if somebody goes out there and skates hard and finishes a check or two and gets a scoring chance, well, you're up for a promotion. Into the top six you go. Like the amount of movement and the bar to get a look in the top six is so low right now.
Well, what's amazing, though, because that's true, one absolutely true, you would think because of that the Oilers would come out with incredibly fast starts, knowing if you have a really good first couple shifts, you're going to get to play with Connor or Leon. Yet that's not the case. The Oilers don't come out with quick starts. I think part of the problem, too, like Knobloch talked, Schauger and Struds, that he wanted to have a big third line, physical third line that he could use to check. So he threw tonight Podkolzin, Frederick, and Phil. Yet when the Oilers or when Montreal started Suzuki, they didn't start their checking line against them. So they're building this big line, but they're not using them like how they say it was. And the problem with their big line, their physical line, the one player that's supposed to play with sandpaper, Frederick, you haven't noticed him yet this year at all, in a physical sense at all. And I think that's making it hard for your bottom six. Is the one guy that you thought you were going to build around, Strud, has been incredibly quiet. And now you've got Philp running a line, or you've got, a Savoy being the catalyst on a bottom six line, because the guy that you gave the 7 or 8 year contract to has not shown you what you expected from him.
So the first shift he had as an Oiler, I think it was in the playoffs. He blew someone up, I think, against the Kings, and it looked like he tweaked his ankle and retweaked it. Or maybe that was his first game in the regular season. That's my memory of Trent Frederick, and I've seen him play for Boston. He has way more rambunctiousness in his game than we've seen. And I'm not sure if that's a conversation that the coach has to have, a teammate. I don't know who it is Milkman, anybody, just to be just simplified. I feel like maybe he is trying to be something he's not with this big deal. You have 32 sheets in his pocket. Maybe he thinks he has to do more than he actually does, but or he's capable of. But being a physical player when you're big and strong, it's there, because right now he started at the top line. He's kind of worked his way down. I know it's hard times to say, well, this is a line or not, but he's not even playing center right now. He's on right wing, which I get, but still, my vision for him is he's a center. He's a big, heavy center that plays that way, and we're not seeing the best of him. And I think he has a much higher ceiling than he's shown so far.
Yeah, it's a problem for the team too, because he's a guy that's supposed to be bringing a type of energy that this team just does not have. I mean, I was talking to Craig Button between periods tonight, and we were talking about what the team has shown so far this year. And the word that I brought up to him, I was like, this team is docile. Like, they're just kind of like they're chill behind the bench. There's no fire and brimstone behind the bench. They don't have a lot of players that go out there and play any sort of disruptive style game. If they're low energy, they don't really have anybody that goes out there and brings the energy and finishes the checks and can get a little rambunctious and maybe a little menacing. Trent Frederick's supposed to do some of these things, Brownie, and he's brought absolutely none of it. And an already docile group is just even more tame.
Well, Kane is gone, Perry is gone. Those were veteran players that understood their role. Now, they both have warts in their game, but they understood that. I mean, Perry would go out and fight. He's a 50-goal scorer in the National Hockey League that's pushing 40, but he understood some point our team was lacked energy. I went out and got to a fight. Or I went out and accidentally on purpose fell on a goaltender. Or I would get into a chirping match with the entire other team's bench. Or Kane would go run somebody. Or Kane would go face wash somebody. They thought they were getting that in Frederick. That's why he got a long deal. Because they thought, here is the replacement for those guys, and he's 10 years younger. But we haven't seen it at all. And I remember the exact hit that Struddy's talking about. He was like a He-Man that night where he lifted, like he didn't even take 2 strides, and he lifted the guy and just almost threw him through the boards. And you're like, okay, this is exactly what you need. But you're not getting that. You're not getting a forecheck. You're not getting any after the whistle. You're not getting any physicality. And you've got to read the play. Tonight, now the Oilers were fortunate because of some calls. But until then, at some point, a Frederick has to go on the ice and create havoc so that you pull your team into a fight. And he has not done that at all this year. And if you're looking, and this is my opinion, if you're looking at the Oilers forwards as a whole, the 12 forwards that played all these games thus far, and not actually so 14, including Lazar and all that, I would have Frederick at the bottom of the pile right now. He has been the most underwhelming of any player that the Oilers have up front. And that's not good, because when you get to playoff hockey, a docile team does not go very far, Schauger. A docile team it finds its way out of playoffs very quickly. Look at the teams, how the Oilers played in the finals, how the Panthers played. Like, those are teams, it was a hatred, there was physicality, there was meanness. And that's supposed to be what Frederick brings, and he hasn't done that yet.
All right, that was Core Adjustments, brought to you by HSE Core Services. Brownie, how long till you're home, buddy? Where are you at?
I'm in my driveway.
Okay, Struddy and I are going to do, we'll take a quick break, and Struddy and I will get to take a lap right now, and you head inside. We'll do Brownie Points in Struddy's World when you get inside.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll see you in a minute, my friend. Okay, Struds, let's take a look at some other action going on around the National Hockey League. Let's take a lap, brought to you by Riverside Motorsports, family-owned and operated, serving Edmonton and area for over 55 years, featuring top brands like Yamaha, Suzuki, Polaris, Husqvarna, and Gas, delivering the best selection in Alberta, big inventory of parts and accessories, and recognized as the #1 KTM dealership in the country. Check them out at www.riversidemotorsports.com. Where are we going tonight, Struds?
Well, I'll take the first one from Darren Drager. And according to Drags, he put a tweet out earlier today that Brendan Shannon will be joining the NHL and the hockey ops, with an eye on the opportunity if it presents itself to rejoin or to join a new team in some capacity. But I mean, he's been around hockey a long time, player, manager, worked for hockey ops before. Ran the Toronto Maple Leafs, a fairly high pressure team in the league. So I would suspect at some point he gets another opportunity with the team. But until then, having that kind of experience around the hockey ops probably isn't the worst thing for the NHL.
Do you think he gets another one of those jobs where you're kind of high flying in the clouds, where you're safe from the line of fire, a layer between you and the line of fire in the name of the general manager? Or do you think Does he need to get in there and GM a little bit?
Well, I think it ultimately be up to him.
Yeah. Can he call a shot, you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. Do you want to be more hands-on and really get involved? Like, think of Joe Sakic with Colorado. He's been there for a long
Yeah.
time. I would guess he's involved in a lot of the big decisions that are made with the staff. Probably not every single decision, but I think he's involved. And so Shanny was probably like that with Toronto. But maybe the expectations will be different from a new owner. Maybe they'd want him to do both. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, he says Shanaplan did about as good as both Tron sequels. Thank you for that, Alex.
yeah.
What's next?
Yeah. Next up, LTR for Mark Stone. Don't panic, Oilers fans. I know we've been through this before, talking about this. Obviously, the rules now have changed with LTR towards playoffs. I don't think this will be forever. It sounds like it's a wrist injury, and he will be returning back at some point here.
All right.
In the future. And then last one, massive fight today. Two Titans really. Reeves of San Jose Sharks and Rempe, of the Rangers go at it center ice. It was a pretty good tilt. Rempe is learning how to fight, which is kind of scary when he's that big. But he was injured in the fight. He left and did not return, it sounds like. So they'll get an update on the big man who was, we talked about him before. He's played some really good hockey for this team in his role. And seems to have kind of figured out some of the do's and don'ts of hitting from behind in the NHL.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you've seen tactically in his fights. Like, Reeves is tough. Reeves is tough and gives a lot of guys a pretty rough time. But you talked a couple of years ago when Rempe was new, you're concerned for this guy and needing to learn how to do this properly. He was going to get hurt.
He learned from George Rock. I think this summer they had to spend some time together actually here at local rink here. And what I saw today was him having more sense of stretching guys out. So what I mean is you get him on the end of your long arm, you just hold him out there. You could still do a little bit. And listen, I went through it myself because you want to feel safe when the guy is close, but you don't want him close. You want him as far away as you can at the end of your clothesline, way on the end. And tonight he did a little bit better job. He had a couple little times we got in tight again. But when he figures that out, and I'll use someone who unfortunately passed away, but Derek Bugard, he would stretch guys out, and it was not fun being at the end of that rope. I fought men like Eric Cairns. I fought all these guys that are long, and it's just brutal. And I did the same to others with my long arms. So when he figures that out, the league's going to have a big problem.
All right, that was Taking a Lap, brought to you by Riverside Motorsports. Quick break. When we come back, these segments have been on fire lately. Brownie Points and Struddy's World, likely to be your highlights of the night. That and more coming up on Got Your Back after the break, presented by Timber House Developments.
Okay, hang on. Before I have to jump in here, we're having we have a problem.
Houston.
That's going to require. I got our video switching software, which is usually very reliable. I got the spinning wheel right now, so we're kind of stuck on this shot. So I think I'm gonna have to. We're gonna leave the stream. I think it's gonna be fine. We're gonna have to shut her down and come back in, or else I can't. I just can't leave this shot. We'll just be going on this shot. I can't change anything. I can't roll commercials. Nothing.
Oh, really? So we're locked in. Okay.
We won't have Brownie's here waiting.
Can you get his audio?
No, because it says he's in the green room. I think I'll be able to hear him, but you guys won't. So I think we're gonna have to blast this down. Everybody hang tight. I think we'll be back up within like a minute. I'm not gonna have to restart my whole computer, just the software.
But is it gonna be a new file on YouTube and everything, Zuby?
It shouldn't be a new file on YouTube. It might be a separate file on the Twitter machine.
Okay. I'm just wondering. Struds and I can blast through a couple of segments here. I'm not as worried about the graphics and such. We can still do all the reads. By the way, folks, this is producing on the fly. How do you like live streams where we're just producing the show on the fly here?
Do you want Brownie? Can we hear it? See if we hear you. No, he's in the green room. I got full spinning wheel, so I can
spinning wheel. Okay, so Zuby, here's what we're gonna do, buddy. You call Brownie on the phone, and we'll do brownie points over the phone with him. In the meantime, Struds and I are going to rip through the scoreboard. Don't worry about changing all the graphics and stuff. I want to just push the show through to the end here. So we'll just make do. So grab Brownie on the phone for brownie points. And when you've got them, let me know. And for now, Struds and I will grab our scoreboard. And
Okay, I
our
can't
scoreboard
review-
is brought to you by
I also can't
the
review
Brit-
any of my comments or anything like that. So it's going to be
Oh,
for Ask Us.
okay. All right. Sounds good. We'll do the scoreboard and see if the wheel's not done spinning.
Yeah, there's a chance of that.
There is a chance. Brought to you by
small,
the Bridge Sports Therapy. What sets them apart is the fully integrated model where physiotherapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, and strength coaches collaborate seamlessly as one team. With clinics in Edmonton, Sherwood Park, Lethbridge, and opening soon in St. Albert's, they provide accessible team-based care across Alberta. Learn more at thebridge.fit. Struds, what else is going on out there, buddy?
Massive amount of games, 12 games tonight. A couple interesting ones. The Blackhawks defeat the Lightning 3-2. The Lightning, man, they're off to a tough start and couldn't get back. The Hawks, who currently find themselves in a playoff position. The Ducks take it to the Bruins. What's that?
All right. All right, I'll patch you back in here.
Oh, Zuby, your mic's still on.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
This is going great.
Yeah.
Keep going, Struds.
Yeah, so the Bruins lose to the Ducks 7-5. Cutter Gauthier gets his 5th goal of the year. Sharks, Rangers at MSG celebrating. Hat trick for the big man, 6-5. They win in overtime. What else we got here? We got the Mammoths beating the Blues 7-4. The Mammoths continue to push and having a pretty good start. They're my sneaky team, I think, this year, Shoggy. And then the Kraken take down the Jets 3-2 in Winnipeg. Jane Schwartz has 2 goals in that one, and Eberle gets the empty netter. And then closer to home, the Kings beat the Stars 3-2. Kempe gets his 4th goal of the year in overtime. And then the Hurricanes in overtime again beat in their old-fashioned Whalers jerseys, winning a shootout over the Avalanche, who were in their Nordiques jerseys. It was like that. It was like the 80s nights of hockey. There was goals all over the place tonight. Goals 7-2, 6-5, 6-5. It was nuts. 7-5. Lots of goals tonight in the NHL.
All right. And that was our scoreboard brought to you by the Bridge Sports Therapy. That was also a nice job by Struds, stretching out the segment, trying to buy time for Zuby to get organized, trying to make the little wheelie ball stop wheeling. Zuby, how did we do? Is it's still a spinning away? Are you sweating in your chair right now?
No, there's nothing to sweat. It's not fixing. It's not going to change. I already gave you the options. You made your choice. It's all good.
You've made your choice. Whatever happens from here on in is my responsibility. Zuby told me what he wanted to do. I came over to the top. I said, we're pushing through. So whatever happens, I've made the original mistake on the play and nothing else matters. Let's get to brownie points, shall we? Brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. The 2025 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Visit your Alberta Ram dealer to help get into this award-winning truck at a competitive price. Capable, stylish, powerful. It is Ram. Zuby's doing what he can. At least he's got the music going in the background. So we got our familiar brownie points music. Brownie, we can't see you, but we can hear you. Go at it, buddy.
Well, let's start with minus 100 brownie points to the Oilers for 100% lack of defensive awareness in this game. In this game, the Oilers were up 3-1 at one point. In the next shift, off a center face-off, they give up a breakaway. Ekholm has a 2-on-1, and nobody backs him up, and they end up giving up a 2-on-1 the other way. Bouchard gets caught in no man's land and leaves Montreal's best goal scorer wide open, then takes a terrible lane back to the net. Nurse loses puck behind net and Anderson wide open in front. Savoy and Nurse not communicating on the 5th goal. Time and time again in this hockey game, the Oilers' lack of communication and lack of connectivity allowed the Montreal Canadiens to have too many grade A scoring chances. I got 60 brownie points to Montreal Canadiens' Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Lane Hudson. We are just over 60 days till the Olympic teams are picked, and these 3 players are trying to find their way onto their respective teams. I thought all were excellent in this hockey game. I imagine Suzuki and Caulfield will be 2 of these 3 players that will make their Olympic teams. Keeping on that note, I'm taking away 35 brownie points from Canadiens goalie Sam Montembeault, who has started this season so poorly and had an absolutely atrocious night tonight. He may be playing himself off the Olympic team. He was one of 3 goalies for the Four Nation Cup, the Team Canada team that won. I cannot see him being one of the 3 goalies going forward. It has been a bad start for Montembeault. I got 2 huge brownie points to the Oilers power play that was gifted 2 power plays in the last 10 minutes of this hockey game and found a way to steal a game for them when they didn't have their best stuff through the first 15 minutes. For the first time this year, I believe the Oilers' 2 superstars looked like themselves. The last 10 minutes of this hockey game, Leon and Connor looked like Leon and Connor of old. And finally, I know you guys talked a little bit about this as well earlier in the broadcast, but I got 92 brownie points to the Oilers' Vasily Podkolzin for being first star, a fantastic game-winning goal, but mostly for the absolutely incredible, heartfelt interview that he gave after the game, talking about his father, the love he felt on social media from the Oilers fans, and then throwing in the humor, talking about not being Evgeny Malkin and watching that goal 10 years ago when he was just a kid. An absolutely incredible interview by Podkolzin. He is a fan favorite. He is a teammate favorite, and rightfully so. He is a guy that you want to cheer for. And those tonight are my brownie points.
Yep, you nailed it again, Brownie. Some real nice points there, some subtle nuance you pulled out of there, and more than anything, I didn't lose any tonight, so I consider that a win. Where are we in our season standings, by the way? How are Struds and I doing here?
I only give monthly updates. We will wait November podcast. We will give the updates, and there has been some change, so stay tuned.
Okay, making the rules up in his own segment too. I love it. Brownie taking full ownership over brownie points. This is where I'd say, Zuby, roll the animation. It's time for Struddy's World. Go ahead, Zub.
Hold on.
Still got the wheelie ball?
I was going to try to give you something here.
Dome.
When you make a mistake, head should roll. Sorry, that's the only part of it I can remember.
Hang on, I got something else here.
You are an absolute horrendous dresser. Is this guy blind? I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, get no respect.
We actually improvised that pretty well. It's time for Struddy's World. Brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Ready for that deck that lasts? DLR PVC Decking brings you Vecca Deck and Wolf Serenity. These are exclusive boards, really high quality, pure PVC core resistant to water, mold, and insects, a natural wood grain finish protected by UV inhibitors. Your deck stays looking new without the sanding and staining of wood. In stock now, both Calgary and Edmonton locations. It's www.dlrvinylproducts.ca. Struddy.
Lane Hudson, he's the reason that many people should buy tickets to watch the Montreal Canadiens play. I thought he was one of their best players on their ice. Obviously, there's some other people scoring. But if you go back and watch that first goal, the way he manipulates the Oilers forwards to get out of his way, he gets the puck, he's dragging it to his right, kind of does a fake shot, quickly goes back and just gets it on net. And it goes right into the feet. And obviously, Newhook is able to make it happen. But he is up there, though, his way he manipulates forwards on the blue line with, Quinn Hughes. Adam Fox is really good at it. Now he's not even close to a good skater as those other guys. Makar, Evan Bouchard, pretty good too as well. But the way he moves and creates, jumps in, he zips into little passing lanes, forechecks, pinches down, like he's really good. But the way he manipulates forwards on the blue line, guys, is elite. And I couldn't even do that in my dreams. I would just get shut down. He is so good at it. So he's going to be fun to watch for the next 15 years. I'm telling you, boys.
Yeah, I agree, Struds. I loved watching him play. He's got a little bit of Quinn Hughes in him, a little bit of Cale Makar in him. He's not a big man, but he does. It's like before a game, they put, circle his name. You guys got to be physical on him. You got to hit him. And at the end of the game, you're like, you can't catch him. He doesn't put himself in that position, jumps up in all the plays. And we were talking, he's a guy that can go down below the goal line and kind of juke you and make something out of nothing because he's got that ability. I agree. He is fun to watch. He is an outstanding player. And I was surprised that Bill Guerin came out so quickly saying, it's not his time for Team USA. Because maybe he's not in your top 6, but I think I want this kid along for the ride just for what he can learn, because he is going to be a stud for Team USA and all future best on best tournaments.
You have a thought, Brownie, on the other super skilled Habs forwards, the young guys, Demidov. I mean, we saw Cole. He's not that young anymore. He was blazing around all over the place tonight. But man, they've got some really good looking young players.
They are a team that will become must-watch TV in the next couple of years because they're talented. They're skilled. That Kapanen, he's a nice hockey player as well. They create. They make, as I said earlier, they force you to turn the puck over because they're so fast. They are skilled. For 50 minutes tonight in this hockey game, it wasn't a game. The first 50 minutes, it was dominated. When the Montreal Canadiens were down 3-1, they were by far the better of the two teams. They got 4 goaltending in this hockey game, and then eventually they started getting a little bit of puck luck. But no, if you're a Montreal Canadian fan, I think you've got a really good future ahead of you. I don't think this is a team now that is on the cusp of being a playoff team. I think this is a team now that's on the cusp of, having home dates to start the playoffs. I think they are that good. They're just going to need to get more consistent goaltending because, as you know, skilled players do make mistakes. You need a goalie to cover up once in a while. And tonight, Montembeault, I thought he was terrible, and one of the biggest reasons that the Montreal Canadiens weren't able to get away with at least a point.
All right, Brownie, that'll wrap you tonight, buddy. Thanks for hopping back onto the telephone and being versatile for us. We'll chat with you after the Oilers and the Kraken on Saturday night. Enjoy the ball game tomorrow night, buddy. Where are you watching?
Oh, well, you mocked me the other day when I told you that my wife and I, last time we sat together in the den, they won, so we were doing it again. Well, they won that game too, so I'm not going to take full credit. I'm going to give part of the credit to my wife because she was there too. But we were a big part of the victory. And tomorrow night, my wife and I will be in the exact same seat, ordering the exact same pizza, drinking the exact same beer. Absolutely. And if they win, when they win, you can call me up and thank me. And you can thank me for being a big part of the Blue Jays win again.
So no friends. Like, there's got to be a watch party going on. There's got to be, like, that would be right in your wheelhouse to be celebrating with people, but you won't.
Last Friday, we had 25 of us went out to our buddy owns the local DP in town, and 25 of us went up there, and they lost. So no more watch parties. Not until they lose another game where my wife and I are together. But we cannot have a watch party while we're on a winning streak.
He's just got to go to the Canadian Brew House, Struds. That's the mistake he's making. That's where you got to go to watch the game. The Canadian Brew House.
That's a good idea. Maybe that's where we'll head, over to one of the 2 that we have here in St. Albert.
Nice job, Brownie. Thanks, pal. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. That is Rob Brown. Okay. Wanted to push through all of that stuff. Zuby, how are we doing with the spinning wheel, buddy?
It's getting tired. It's spinning so much.
It's still spinning.
It's quite mesmerizing.
Yeah. Okay. Want to just push through here our last segment in a little bit, and we'll get some commercials made up next show or something like that.
I can also I can pull a few Ask Us because I can search the YouTube chat. So anything. Yeah. I won't have the ones I earmarked, but I can.
We'll make it work.
I could do that. And also one more just quick note while we finish talking about the Blue Jays. There was one other thing for Play Alberta, something that we added, and with we're not going to do another show before that first game tomorrow night. So we also added under special bets, if you go to playalberta.ca and there's the GYB specials, quick navigation over on the left side. We also had them boost for us a got your back special bet, Blue Jays to win the World Series in 7 games. Very precise. Only in 7 games. That's the prediction. As the prediction Struddy and I made yesterday afternoon on Struddy's World. Check your local listings, by the way, people. That's Struddy's World, Wednesdays at noon on all platforms.
Betting with your heart a little there, hey Struds, and we're giving you a chance to bet with your heart a little with Play Alberta and got your back, hey buddy? Just a little bit.
Got to, guys.
It's going to be fun. All right, thanks. Yeah, and keep an eye on playalberta.ca. We got some of those got your back specials, and we'll have stuff, as we said before, on show days. All right, let's get to Ask Us Anything, and that is brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Founded in 1976, they're a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings. Proudly owned and operated in Edmonton. Visit bjelectric.ca. I can grab some of these too as they're coming in, Zuby. I know you're behind the 8 ball a little bit here, but we had a real nice stream tonight. Lots of people involved, lots of great questions coming our way, so we thank everybody. And maybe we'll start by wrapping up the poll.
Oh, yeah, we did have a poll. The poll tonight was, would you have Isaac Howard playing in your top 6 starting next game? And it was pretty overwhelming. It was just a yes, no answer. 75% of the vote saying yes, they want to see him start there in that top 6. 25% saying no, I guess they have other ideas of who's going to fill those spots and feel like he should be developing in another way at this point in time.
All right, good stuff. Thanks to everybody for their contributions. All right, buddy, ready to roll with a few of these?
Yeah, and you know what? I there was one that I remember now from before, which was, the forward lines go in a blender. As we've established, forward line seems to go in a blender very easily, but not so much with the D pairings, even though those guys, arguably are not playing their best. So I guess we understand the why, I'm sure Struddy would speak to the why of it, but on the surface level, why don't the D pairings get shifted up as much?
Well, there's not as many of them, obviously. That makes a bit of a difference. And then, we have seen success with these where they are. They have a history, right? This group of 6 has a history. Now, next game, could you see someone come out and someone being Emerson, maybe, and put Stetcher in? I'm not sure if Regula is ready. Maybe he gets another chance in there. But I think stability is a good thing on the back end, especially when we've seen them do well together in the past. So it's not as easy to switch them up as it is the forwards, or not as often do you see it. So I think leaving them is fine.
Yeah, and righty lefties, it limits what you can do, whereas forwards generally, if you have to, a lot easier to flip-flop guys over to the wing that maybe they're not used to playing with less potential consequence. I think the matchups with D pairings, like you generally try and have your best guys out against the other team's top couple of lines. So it's just a riskier proposition to muck around with your D pairings too much, I would say. And that's why we don't see a lot of it. But Knobloch is certainly not afraid to mix up a witch's brew of line combinations on any given night up front, Zoobs.
Sort of continuing on that same topic, there's been lots of discussion tonight about Paul Coffey and suggesting that maybe the team misses him. I know, I think it was Canadian. He's mentioned on a couple of broadcasts that the Oilers only have 3 official coaches. Lots of teams have 4. Is it too much for them to handle? Lots of people mentioned tonight, Paul Coffey's with the organization, right? Would there be any chance of him coming back into a coaching role?
No.
Jogger, you can start.
No, I don't think so. I understand why people would say that. Like, the start isn't great for the Oilers, but I'll remind you, the start wasn't great with Paul Coffey behind the bench either. You know what I mean? Like, this is an October issue for right now, and no, his time behind the bench is done. He's moved on. Don't foresee that happening, and this is something the players got to work their way through, Struds.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that they're not going to panic in a knee-jerk reaction here in this. The next 2 games are against Seattle and Vancouver. Yep, Seattle's had a good start. Vancouver is, up there as well, all things considered. But those are winnable games, right? Every game the Oilers play should be a winnable game. So they could come out of this and be, 3 games over 500 by Monday, and then people calm down. That'd be after, your first 10 games. That's, not too shabby.
I'll grab one from Noah Rinsky here. Ask us anything. At what point does the coach have to send a message to underperforming core players? Struds, before the Oilers came back in this game and won it, I was thinking that upstairs as I was watching. I was like, at a certain point here, he's going to have to start showing some teeth. And this goes back to my comment before about them being too docile. I think that at a certain point, Knobloch's got to show some bite back there and make some tough decisions and roll over some guys and start sending some messages. If you're not a fire and brimstone guy, with the way you're interacting with your players, then you got to have some bite with doling out the ice time.
Fair point. I think I'd start that after game 10. It takes about 10 games to get your rhythm and get going. And so and this team this core group has done a lot together. They've accomplished a ton. No cups, I get that, but you've got to give them a chance to get out of it. And then, 10 games, there'll be Monday, we'll be done that. And then within 5-6 days, a week, you could have Hyman back. And that changes things as well, balances out lines and sets up the lines better. So I'm guessing he's going to be somewhat patient and slow play this before he comes out and really challenges some of the guys who have struggled here, because there have been some tough plays around the lineup for sure from some of their core players.
Darnell Nurse pointed out in his post-game comments as well that the team's 4-3-1, and they sort of across the board are admitting that they haven't, they're not playing at their best, haven't shown it yet, and certainly you can compare it's their best record at this point, this many games in the season in the last 3 years. So maybe not the call for panic that we think. Jeff McDonald said, this was kind of aimed at Struddy, but maybe you have some insight as well, Shager. How do you view the game while on the ice versus watching a broadcast? E.g., are you able to see more from a broadcast of what the whole team is doing? What's the perspective difference from you for watching it?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I prefer being at the games, and in the press box, we got a really high up view. Couple times a year, I try and go down and watch a period or two if I've got a buddy in a suite or something like that, just to get down a little bit closer to the action, Struds, because we can kind of forget up there. It's so far away, just how fast everything happens. But I would say watching in the rink versus on TV, you definitely just get a little bit more of a sense. You can key on a guy. So let's say a storyline tonight's Ike Howard. I'll just watch him for a shift. I'll just keep my eyes on him. It's a lot easier to do that in the building than it is on the monitor on TV. So a few different things you can do. And then commercial breaks. I always got the binoculars out. I watch people. I watch players interact. I just pay attention to everything. So it's just a little different being there.
It is. Yeah. So when you're watching a game on TV, the way that you can approach is you can really take a look at what happened in a situation and rewind it and watch it again, even if it's not a goal. And I like that because sometimes you see a sequence like, what happened there? How did that play work so well? Or maybe it didn't work out the way they thought, and who broke down, who wasn't in the right place. Like I'll say the last goal tonight that Montreal scored, the player comes around the net, and Nurse could have jumped him sooner. But if you look at, I think it's Newhook skates right by Howard, right? Just skates right in front of him, and Howard just lets him go. Now, that his guy? Not in the strictest sense in the world, but you're supposed to protect the front of the net. So maybe a veteran player jumps with him and just ties him up a bit, and then he doesn't get that shot off. He is not the primary offender on that. He's not even the secondary offender. He's probably at best the third. But I was like, how did he get so open? Was no one else aware? And that's kind of one of those examples.
Kayla Weathorn says, is the spinning ball thing keeping us from being able to see Zuby? Rude, says Kayla Weathorn. She's missing Zuby's hairline on the show tonight.
She is very sweet and very complimentary of me, and I appreciate it. Moving on. Shager, do you have a monitor, or like when you're there in the press box, or there's monitors around?
Yeah. We have TVs. All along press row, so we can I have to sort of look back and crane my neck. But quite often I'll have my laptop there, and I can have the actual game broadcast up, which I like to do because often I'll hop on and watch the between period intermissions and stuff. So yeah, we have the TV feeds pretty readily available for us, but I don't watch those during the game. Obviously, you're just watching the game.
Okay, one more, buddy. I got one more, but hang on. I still have a follow-up on that. Is
Okay.
there assigned seating there, or is it sort of implied, or and are there any faux pas of like you come in and what's his name there is sitting in your seat? Oh, why can't I think of his name? The guy you had the backpack tiff with.
Tom Gazzola.
Gazzola, you come in and Gazzola's sitting in your seat. Does that stuff like that
Oops.
ever happen?
He wouldn't dare. Like there's just no way that he would ever dare do that. No, we do have assigned seating. We got little placards with our names. And
Okay.
I got Daniel Nugent Bowman on one side of me. I got Tom Gazzola. Then I got Kevin Karius, and I got Jason Greger. And it gets pretty chirpy up there in the Karius Greger section. It's Greger's birthday today, so we were all trying to guess his age. Did not realize he was in his mid 60s. That was I wouldn't have pegged him there, but it gets a little punchy up there. But yes, assigned seating.
Okay, that's good to know. Last one, Ro Nelson. This is a good one. If you could have only one of these come true, would you want the Blue Jays to win the World Series, Canada to win Olympic gold in men's hockey, or the Oilers to win the cup this year? We could do this as a poll question as well. Schauger, you're not a fan. You can say who you'd be most happy for if any of those things happen. But Struddy, which of those are huge and all possible. So which one would you like for yourself or your friends or family?
Oilers, Jays, gold medal. We've seen a gold medal for that group. We haven't seen a Blue Jays or Oilers championship in many, many years. So those would be my priorities.
Yeah, that all makes sense to me. I think, I mean, obviously, Oiler fans have been waiting for a while now, and they've been close. So it would be, I'm sure, fun for Oiler fans for that to happen and the family. So, yeah, I'll agree with that order, Struds. I don't really have a rooting interest in it, but that all makes sense. Zuby, you?
I'm with Struddy. The Jays thing is tantalizing because it's so close right now. But no, I mean I'm an Oilers fan first and foremost. So that's the top, and also the fact that Connor McDavid will, in all likelihood, have a shot at winning that gold medal. I'd be happy for that for him. But I'm with Struddy's rankings here as well.
All right. That was a cobbled together version of Ask Us Anything, sans technology. So nice job, Zuby.
I give it a 6.
You've been a star on the show tonight.
Oh,
What's
thanks. I gave it a
Yeah.
6, that segment.
A 6 out of 10? All
Yeah.
right. It could have been worse with the spinning ball and everything.
Exactly.
Let's wrap it up with our play of the day, brought to you by Mainline Water and Sewer, your trusted choice for over 40 years, specializing in sewer line replacement and expert water line repair and replacement. Slow drains are a sign it's time for attention, and aging lines can cause basement backups. Their trenchless method is quick, low impact, and often finished in a day, complete with backflow protection. Visit mainlinewaterandsewer.ca. Zuby, I guess we can't use the screenshots that you had sent in of the sweaters. I'm just looking to
we
see.
cannot. Look at
Did anybody
those. Aren't
text
they
them
beautiful?
today? Nobody text them over today? Okay, I
Oh,
thought maybe I
gosh.
could just show my phone.
You
You
know
know what,
what,
though? Bit of an obvious one, though, Struds in Podkolzin's goal. I don't know how we don't go with that for a play of the day.
Well, he was a relentless player. So I think that, he could be a double award winner and he definitely deserves it. But I think something may have taken it. Cole Caulfield post game, according to Eric Engels, said this: the refs kind of took over that game, and kudos to them for winning it.
Really?
So again, the refs kind of
That's
took
great.
over that game, and kudos to them for winning it. Cole Caulfield. I spit my drink out when I saw again Engels, one of the Habs beat reporters, put that on there. Genius, absolute.
I feel
genius.
like Cole might have spent a little money tonight,
Yeah,
Struds.
he
I
did.
don't know if that slides through the filter.
But he'll get his money's worth. If it's whatever it is, he'll have gotten his money's worth for sure.
High fives from the buddies in the room. All right. Love it. I love it. That was a nice pull for play of the day, Struds. All right, that's going to wrap the show, everybody. Big thanks to everybody that tuned in, and a big thanks to all of our sponsors as well. Sorry we couldn't get all your logos on the screen, but we'll be back up and running, no problem, next show. And Zuby, honorable mention for Relentless Player for pushing through all the technology stuff tonight, buddy.
Oh, thanks. No problem. It happened. It's been very rare. What have we been on this software? 2 years, 3 years now?
Yeah.
It's been extremely rare. It was like the very first episode too. It had a huge computer fart on us. And it's been really solid. But what's great is going to be the ending that people are going to get to see here, because this is just going to be a hard crash out of this
Turn it off.
Okay.
episode tonight. Yeah, everyone,
All
we
right.
politely ask that you turn off and do not watch this ending.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Yeah, let's wrap it up then. This has been Got Your Back, presented by Timber Hoss Developments. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll chat in a couple of days. And scene.
Do people want to see behind the scenes here for a minute? Do we want to say anything else? Because we're going to lose each other too here when I shut this down.
Oh, we're
Okay.
gone? So we
Yeah.
got to do
Yeah.
our end
Well-
of evening chat. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just do it like we normally would.
Good night.
Struds, go to bed, get some sleep. You
Yeah.
got some bags under your eyes. You're looking tired, man.
What?
Like
I look great.
and
On that
pick up
note,
the
I
energy
will
a
say
little.
good night. Good night, troops.
Good night.
All right, see you, buddy.
Yeah. Zuby, what do we want to do for Ray and Dregs next week? We'll do like Tuesday, Thursday, we're thinking.
Yeah, I think that's fine with me. I'll check my.
Okay, sounds good. And then do whatever you want to do for a promo. There's lots of good stuff there, so should be lots to pick from.
Pods. We'll do something on
And,
pods.
yeah, some Podkolzin stuff there. Definitely, that'll make a good promo. And yeah, great work tonight, buddy.
Okay, thanks, pal. You too.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Here comes the force quit. I'll crank the music. Oh, the music ended. All right, bye-bye. Let's see what happens here. And we're back. I'm doing a test. If anybody's still here, you're just getting to see the end of this as a test. Because it did tell me it was going to reconnect to the 3 places. So I'll edit this out later. Oh. Let's see. Nothing to see here. My wife is apparently watching tonight. That's very nice. Oh, there I am. I am on Twitter. So that's good. That's good to know. It didn't even... I felt confident about that, but we made the choice we made. And I'm on YouTube too. All right. Well, thanks, gang. Thanks for being here. Yeah, don't pick my nose. Thanks, Neil. All right. Good night, everybody.